Hey everyone, my name is Joe. Welcome back to my channel. So I'm going to continue talking about my depression. So this is part two. Like I've stated in previous videos, I have been dealing with depression for years. I believe my depression started when I was 8 years old, due to living in an emotionally cold household. I didn't always live with both of my parents. Prior to that, I had been living in the Dominican Republic with my mother and other family members in my grandparents' house. And so, eventually 4 years after that, we reunited with my sister and my father. But I do have other half siblings. We don't have the same father, and they're many, many years older than me. So I wasn't really raised with them. So it was so many things. It wasn't just being raised in an emotionally cold household. Obviously, that really affected me deeply. I also did not have a good relationship with my sibling. My sibling is a couple of years older than me, and we just didn't get along or whatever. Like, she was just hanging out with other people and stuff like that, and I really had no one. Nowadays, we have a better relationship, but I would say it's not as emotionally close as I wish it could possibly be, but it's better than what it was when I was a child. So I want to continue to talk about the things that I went through, the things I had to deal with due to suffering, with depression, how that just affected me. I developed also a lot of anxiety. So when I was in school, I used to be extremely nervous and scared whenever I was called to answer a question, or whenever I had to give out a presentation. I I used to not sleep at night every time I used to think about having to go to school, or if I had a major presentation or having to do group work or something like that. It just really affected my self-esteem. It affected my voice. And when I say my voice, I'm talking about the fact that now I can speak with more confidence. I can speak more clearly. Before, I used to really shy away from speaking, because given the way that I was raised, I got the message: no one wants to hear you. What you have to say is not important, so just keep your mouth shut. I couldn't really speak my truth. I couldn't express my feelings. I couldn't express my emotions. I literally would spend hours in a day not saying a word to anyone, because I was just left to my own demise. And when I was in school, I became really scared of other people, of their opinions, of their perceptions of me, of being criticized, of being judged, of being humiliated, and things like that. Because whenever I had managed to express emotions, whenever I had managed to express fear, I was met with being told that I was doing too much, or seen as dramatic, or being told that my feelings are not that important, or that I'm exaggerating things and things like that. So when you receive those type of messages, you don't want to speak out anymore. You shut down. You feel like no one cares about you. So I'm not going to speak up. I'm not going to do anything. Another thing is that I was bullied in school, but it wasn't severe. It's just once in a while, and I didn't have the ability to really defend myself. It's like a fear of the person, but also fear of my own anger. Sometimes I get afraid that if I was to get into a real physical fight or confrontation, I feel like I'm scared that I might end up killing someone and things like that. I'm scared what I might do. Those are things that I really struggle with. But again, it depended on where I was at, what kind of environment. Because again, to certain people, I was different things. I feel like I didn't know who I was. And I'm still learning to figure out who I am. Because when you receive so many negative messages being told to you that you're ugly, that you're dramatic, that you do this, that you do that, or where basically somebody's dismissing your feelings and your opinions and gaslighting you. That's when somebody makes you doubt your sanity. Let's say I tell you that I'm Dominican, and then you were like, oh, you're Dominican, right? Let's say the next day you tell me that, I'm like, no, I never told you I was Dominican. I told you I was Honduran. And then you start to doubt yourself, like, wait, this girl really told me she was Dominican. And then you start going on and on and on and on. And that's a method that narcissistic people use or toxic people use to disarm you and to make you feel like you're the one that's crazy. So yeah, I dealt with all of that, and it got progressively worse as I went into high school, because again, I still dealt with those issues. I had to deal with like going to school dressed a certain way because my parents never really invested in like me dressing up nicely or me being able to say, hey, I want to dress like this, I want to dress like that, I want to have my nails painted and things like that. None of that was taken into consideration. I would be giving money to go shopping. I was giving a certain amount at the beginning of the school year, and that was it. If I needed anything else, I didn't even bother, even though my parents had the money to buy it. They just didn't care. And I got the message that don't ask me for anything, don't come to me emotionally, so I'm just not gonna do that. And I was gonna say, and also the peer pressure at that time, wearing Jordans, which were $100 and $200, were the things. So sometimes I would use the money to buy Jordans that I didn't even like, just because I wanted to be cool and fit in, or wearing pepper jeans and things like that that I thought were like cool. Just because, again, I was, when you don't know who you, first of all, when you don't know who you are, and when you have low self-esteem issues, as well as when you're, developing and transitioning to finding out who you are, when you are going from middle school age to high school, obviously there's certain aspects, certain developmental things that are going to happen to you, and you're going to, try to perhaps mold yourself into what the group is doing, to what society is doing. And if you add the low self-esteem and coming from an unstable household, that's a recipe for disaster. I thought I was freaking weird. No matter how hard I tried to fit in, I just couldn't fit in. When I'm surrounded by a group of people, I honestly feel like I don't fit in here. I'm being underestimated. My opinions have not been taken seriously at the workplace. I have legit people that actually at the workplace that had made fun of me, thinking and saying things like, oh, you're not going to get this promotion. And then eventually I ended up getting the promotion, and they start really being hateful and things like that towards me, which in turn then made me doubt myself and made me feel like I can't do this, and makes me become very hypercritical of myself. And I start feeling the imposter syndrome. Imposter syndrome is when you feel like if people were to really find out that I'm not who I say that I am. For example, let's say I was the CEO of a company and I have people working under me. You feel like, oh my God, people are going to find out that I'm not really capable of being a CEO, that I'm not that good, that I make mistakes, yada, yada, yada. So you feel like you're going to be exposed, which is something that I really dealt with at the workplace. And yeah, it just felt really bad because, again, I wanted desperately to fit in with people. And then at times I denied myself. Like I pretended to believe into certain things. I pretended to have certain opinions that I didn't really feel, just because I did not want to be ostracized by my surroundings, by the people around me, because it's really hurtful when you want to be part of a group and you want to be accepted, but you're just, no matter what you do, you're just not accepted into the group. It's something that comes from my family dynamics, because I've often felt like the black sheep of my family. I am the only one that has ever gone to like therapy. I'm the only one that has like a whole bunch of self-help books. I'm the only one that's desperately searching for something, because I want to feel full again. I want to be happy. I don't want to live my life continuously worrying about what are people going to say about me, what are people going to think about me, which was a message that was sent tremendously throughout my whole life. Okay, it was always about what people are going to say. Like, let's say, for example, like if my mom was to come across this video, she would be furious, because she would be like, oh my God, you're embarrassing me, how dare you speak out against yada yada. The family that will be insulted because they feel like I'm betraying them. they're going to feel like I'm saying lies, even though what I'm speaking on is 100% truth. But again, we all have different perspective, and what they might deem normal, right? I don't deem normal. What they might deem acceptable, I deemed that as very hurtful and as, traumatic, and it left me traumatized. It left me with issues that I'm still dealing with. But I do want to say this, that I don't want people to feel sorry for me. Please don't feel sorry for me. I'm not making this video to have people feel sorry for me. Okay, I'm making this video because it makes me feel good. Like, me talking about it, it gets that off my chest. Okay, and because I just want people to hear my message, and I want people to see me, and I want to be authentic, and I want to be vulnerable, and I don't want to care about what people think about me anymore. I'm going to continue talking about embarrassing things or whatever, because I know that some of us portray a certain image on social media and the outside world, like we're perfect, whatever, like we're this and we're that. And in reality, we are all, in some shape or form, flawed human beings. And so it has gotten to the point that I just don't want to care anymore. I don't want to care. I only want to care about what I think about myself. And by me doing this, I'm putting myself out there, which is getting outside of my comfort zone. And yeah, being open to having people think I'm crazy, being open to people that know me and my family think that I'm making this up, being open to people that, that they do not understand how this unhealthy toxic dynamics work, and they might see my videos as disrespect, or see it as I shouldn't be saying this, yada yada yada. That's your family, you should still love them, yada yada yada. So this is why I'm making these videos. And also another thing is that I know that there's people that can relate to this, and I feel like it can be helpful for someone to see that, hey, there's someone else like me, there's someone else that have been through similar things like me. So that's why I'm doing them. I'm not doing it for a pity party. I don't need people to pity me. You could offer empathy, which is different than sympathy. Okay, empathy is when you have the ability to put yourself in someone else's shoes and imagine how they may have felt dealing through X, Y, and Z. Sympathy is when you're like, oh my God, I feel so sorry for that person. That's what I don't want. Okay, so let me go on and continue talking about my depression. Like I said, I dealt with a lot of peer pressure. I dealt with wanting to dress a certain way to just to fit in, and having to basically behave in ways that were not natural to me, do things that were not natural to me, dress in certain ways that were not natural to me, or whatever. Desperately seek friendships. I've set friendships that were not even healthy, but again, I didn't know. I was doing things unconsciously. I wasn't aware. I definitely wasn't self-aware then. I knew something was wrong, but obviously I didn't have the information and the strength and the abilities and things that I have now. Another thing is that, for example, having to go to college to make my parents happy. I went to college at the age of 17. However, my mother spoke with my primary doctor, who told her not to let us go to college. My sister not to go away for college. But now that I think about it, I'm like, whatever. Maybe going away for college would have done me well. I'm not sure. But I'm trying to live my life in a way that it's like, okay, well, things happen. I had to learn to accept them. I had to feel the emotions of those things, the sadness, the grief, the anger, and make peace with it. It's not something that is easy to do, really. It's not easy to admit your faults, and that's something that a lot of people are not able to do. It's not an easy thing to admit, hey, you have issues, hey, you have things to change. Now that I am an adult, I am working on basically becoming the pilot of my own life, becoming my own driver, instead of letting people tell me what to do, how to think, how to behave, or whatever, how to see the world. I'm just basically wanting to navigate life and be as authentic as I can possibly be. Another thing with my depression was that I actually also feared going outside. I would go on for months if I didn't have to go outside, and I would just be locked up, to be honest, because I didn't feel safe. I feared people looking at me. I felt really ugly. I felt like people were going to judge me. I felt like, oh, maybe if I was more attractive, maybe people would like me better. I know it's weird, but it's honestly the honest truth. I really, really, really hated myself, but now I'm starting to really like and love myself, which is an awesome thing. And I just, yeah, depression sucks. It sucks, really. Um, and also, due to depression, I also used to overeat a lot because I used to feel like food used to come for me. That's one thing that my parents had a lot of, food. And given that I was left alone so many times, starting at the age of 8, in which I was instructed to be careful with opening the doors to strangers, yada, yada, yada. And food used to really comfort me, but the thing is that it wasn't healthy food. It was fried food, a lot of sugar, sweets. So those are still things that I still kind of battle with, but now I'm more aware that I had to eat healthy. I'm an adult. So I do make the conscious effort to eat healthier or whatever. And also know that when you eat unhealthy food, they also affect your mood. And certain foods can definitely contribute and make your depression actually a lot worse. So that's something that I have taken into consideration. But God, my depression is just. Also, I used to desperately want people to want boys and men to love me because I feel like someone else should save me from my feelings of sadness and hurt and feeling like I can't even help myself. And I have more to say, and I will talk about it in another video. Thank you for watching.